in places like this park just south of Sydney CBD, where a new craze is taking over the nation.
In Australia, all the capitals except for I think Darwin have a very active club, and there's a few sort of more rural clubs as well. But yeah, generally New City has an Irish pub, and in Chinatown it's probably got a bike polo team too.
Bike polo only arrived in Australia about 5.5 years ago, but it's the game's winning combination of skill and sociability that has new members turning up in droves.
I knew about polo from before moving to Sydney. I'm actually from Italy, and before I was living in London, and I saw my first polo game in London, but I didn't have a chance to play. And then I came here to Sydney, and the guys were like really nice, and they got me to play, and then got really into it. So now I'm coming here like twice a week.
The sport, as it's played on hard court surfaces, began in the United States a little over a decade ago, but earlier versions have been around for much longer.
It's been played in this form for about 12 years. They were playing in Seattle. There was a group of couriers over there, so they've been playing in garages, like big garages, warehouses outside the courier companies. But as a sport, it's been around since early 1900s. It was played in the Olympics as a demonstration sport.
These days, asphalt has replaced the grass, and teams of 3 against 3 battle it out on modified bikes with homemade mallets and a few basic rules to guide them.
To score a goal, you have to hit the ball off the end of the mallet. So if it comes off the side, it's a shuffle, which doesn't count. It's 1st to 5 generally. In tournaments we have time games, but when we play here generally it's just a 1st to 5 game. We also have like on like contact, so you can have body on body contact or bike on bike or mallet on mallet, but no other combination. So you can't hit someone's bike with your mallet or hit the person with your mallet or anything like that.
Seems simple enough. So to put it to the test, a new kid on the block decided to take the seasoned regulars on at their own game.
All right, going in. I think the water might have made it a little bit more challenging than I would like, but we'll see how it goes.
Riding along on a push bike, honey, when I noticed you. Yeah, black city, bam-ba-lam, black city, bam-ba-lam, damn thing gone wild. Riding downtown in a hurry, honey, down South Avenue, you look so...
Conditions may not have been ideal, but there's no denying the obvious mismatch in skill levels. So, after proving to be little more than an added obstacle for the rest of the team, it was time for this polo player to hang up her mallet.
I think it's official. I'm the world's worst bike polo player. I'm too scared to hit the ball.
It's because it's just so unnatural. Just the idea of one-handed, and then you're moving, the ball's moving, other players are moving, and after like 2 or 3 games, it's completely different once you get past that first kind of hurdle.
Hurdles indeed. As you'd expect, the sport has its fair share of thrills and spills. Apparently it's not as dangerous as you might think.
It's probably the first thing a lot of people ask is it, oh, it looks dangerous. Personally, I've never had anything apart from a few scrapes. I've played soccer for a long time, and I've had many months out of injury in that, but it seems this is much better.
It's a reasonably safe sport. You get the occasional cut or bruise or whatever, but it's not very common to get anything worse than that.
For those who do take their bike polo a little more seriously, formalised tournaments have been held here in Australia and internationally for the past 4 years. Just last month, 4 teams from Sydney, Brisbane and Perth competed at the World Hardcourt Bike Polo Championships in Switzerland.
Australia We started quite a few years behind, so we're always playing catch up. But I think our skill level and number of players has definitely increased quite rapidly. So I think eventually we'll be able to catch up and be able to compete on a world stage.
With so much of Australia's chances of success riding on the raw potential of new recruits, it's lucky there are plenty of other aspiring players ready to take on the challenge.